welcome back to DecoyNoise, where we're doing more r/am I the antagonist and taking it over to Decoy Court, because this one actually has to do with the court. So today's featured post is, am I the antagonist for confronting my neighbor about her husband, a police officer, giving my stepson a speeding ticket? So before we get into the story today, I want to make sure you guys are subscribing down below to join the Decoy Koi Pond, but also turning on the notifications so we can kind of have a relationship where I am the decoy, your decoy friend that sends you a text message on your phone whenever drama like this goes down, just like in real life, to say, hey, stop what you're doing, life is stressful, let's talk about some drama right now. So let's go ahead and see what OP said. This just happened. Also, throwaway account. A little backstory. I live with my husband and 2 stepchildren. I can't get pregnant, and I've been a mother figure in his kids' lives for the past 10 years or so. They're 17 and 13. I'll call the 17-year-old Jason. We have been living in our current house since 2014 and are still the newest to the block. We are on good terms with our neighbors, but not necessarily friends besides one couple. They are very good people and always willing to lend a hand. Our neighbors from 4 houses down are a younger husband and wife. They have 2 little girls that stepdaughter babysits for pretty frequently. Maybe not weekly, but bi-weekly at least. The husband is a police officer for the next town over, and the wife has actually gone out with me and the other neighbor I'm friends with before. My family knows who all of them are, and they know who all of us are. 2 days ago, Jason comes home from his friend's house around 11 p.m. He's cursing and flinging stuff around in the kitchen, managing to wake up my husband and I. We went down to see what was going on, pretty upset due to the noise. He then handed us the ticket, saying, Mr. Last Name pulled me over and gave me a speeding ticket. We both were angry at him, until we saw that he was going 32 and a 25. My husband and I looked at each other and immediately started ranting about how that's absolute BS. He knows exactly who our son is, and he was going 7 over. We have other friends in law enforcement who say there's sort of an unwritten rule that says 12 over is when you stop someone. I told SD I don't want her to babysit, or stepdaughter I don't want her to babysit for them until I talk to them. The next day I went outside as she was taking the dog for a walk and asked her what was up with her husband giving Jason a ticket. She claimed she had no knowledge of it, and I explained the situation, and she apologized profusely and admitted that was an antagonist thing for her husband to do. I could tell she was very embarrassed, and now I feel a little bad. She said she would even talk to him about dropping it. Was I wrong to confront her about this? So taking this case over to Decoy Court, which it doesn't really belong in Decoy Court. This actually belongs in regular court, like real people court. But, you know, for the sake of the channel, we're looking at this right here. And I have 2 different feelings about this, just genuinely on the top. In Decoy Court, not the defense, is, yes, I can see why, you know, I don't know where this is, but in California, like the speeding limit on the freeway is 65, but if you're doing 65 in the freeway, cars are actually honking at you and moving around and flipping you off. It's this weird thing where it's like, yes, don't do the speed limit, do way over it, because they just expect that of you. But a 25 zone to me seems like a school zone, a residential zone. So the idea that he's doing 32, I want to say oftentimes they'll just clock you in at whatever it is, but if like someone sees the police officer and they slow down, maybe he was doing much greater than that, so maybe he pulled him over at like a much greater speed, and that was the only thing that he can get on the actually verified. It's hard to say because I don't want to fill in the blanks with this situation, but also if he knows it's the stepson, it's the brother of the girl that's babysitting his own daughters, that would be a thing where he might want to cut him some slack, and I can see that as them wanting to cut him some slack, but there's got to be something else to this that we're just not seeing right here, because he's going in there, you know, kicking things around, waking them up at 11 p.m. What else went down that caused them to write the ticket? Because it just, something doesn't, there seems to be a missing part, and I would be interested to see an update after the wife talks to the husband, like, why'd you write them a ticket? You know that they're babysitting our kids, possibly for free, they're the neighbors or something. But the one thing I do genuinely in the Decoy Court do not like about this is the simple fact that it's like, yes, he's breaking the law. Yeah, that might be some weird unwritten rule that you don't really write tickets for friends, or you don't really write tickets for people doing more than 7 miles an hour over, but what BS elitism is this saying, hey, the speed limit exists for peasants. The speed limit is for the serf class, those people that have to actually follow the law. Us, elites, the ones that live on this block and this street with other cops, we don't gotta listen to the law. Our son Jason does what he wants, when he wants, because whatever reason. I don't like that at all. It's like, hey, how about you give your son the right lesson of saying, hey, Maybe you follow the law. Maybe you just don't assume because you know the guy, you can do whatever the heck you want to. Sad to say, the speed limit, just like seatbelt laws, are there for citizens. You might be annoyed, you might just get acclimated to driving over the speed limit and just ignoring it, but at the end of the day, someone decided that because someone was hurt at some point in time. Someone got ejected from their car, someone hit a resident driving down a residential street. It's there for a reason. I don't like the idea that you can just think you're this elite person living in this bubble where you don't need to listen to anything because you know the guy and it's okay because you're this king person. I don't like that. But stopping that right there and saying the decoy defense, because I'm not getting into the political thing over here, is, you know, something else happening or whatever, like he's driving around at 11 p.m. and he's pulling him over. Like, what is there something else? Like, is there other kids? Is Jason dating Mr. Last Name's daughter? And as he comes home and is like, yo, what's his car? What's his car there? Are the neighbors babysitting the daughters again? What's going on? And then Jason's running down to his car, hops into it, steps on the gas, so then Mr. Last Name pops up in the cop car and chases him through there, and he's doing the speed limit, and he's just trying to, like, you know, outmaneuver him, pulls him into the residential, then he hits some lights and sirens, pulls him out, the guy jumps out of the car, hops over the hood, Mr. Last Name pops out with a megaphone and the little, what's that thing on the light, the strobe light to kind of blind him or whatever, writes him the ticket in the car, like something like that, very action movie oriented. Could be a situation where it's like, yes, he was just dating a girl and now Mr. Last Name's on his butt, and instead of actually having an adult to adult conversation, because, you know, Jason, he's 17, but they can have a conversation about, like, hey, look, don't be hanging out with my daughter past 10 p.m. at night. That could be a thing, but then instead he flashed the strobe light on him, kind of like, you know, chased him around the city block and then wrote him a speeding ticket in this weird passive-aggressive fashion. I could see that as being a very realistic thing as to why they would not be the antagonist. But I'm going to go ahead and say that, you know, with lack of better information, I kind of say that, does everybody suck here? I don't even know. I don't even know what really genuinely happened in this story because there's missing so much about it. But I don't like the idea that some people can put themselves in a situation where they say, hey, look, we're special. We don't need to follow the speed limit. And it's BS for them to enforce the laws on us. It's like, no, if you, I mean, I say that as a hypocrite because I'll drive over the speed limit in some places, and it's just like, that's what it is some places, but I can't see that as being a thing that they can throw a fit over. I do understand that OP probably does want to get clarification as to why the ticket was written, and there may or may not be a good reasoning behind it, so maybe that's a big missing aspect. But I guess to my question to you guys, because we'll take a short break before we get to those top comments, is, you know, do you expect a level of professional courtesy, just like if you were going to a friend's restaurant, you expect a certain discount? Do you think that translates to, like, police work, or that translates to you own a bar and you know that your neighbor is the fire marshal and he comes through and you have a couple things that you need to fix to get your liquor license, you have a couple things that you need to fix to get your capacity license? Do you just expect that they're just going to say, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to sign that off because we're neighbors and your daughter babysits my daughter, so let's go, you know, let's call it square? Or do you expect them to just do their job the way it is? You think you deserve special treatment? I'd be curious to think what you guys are thinking down below, but, you know, take that break, let me know, and we'll shoot over to those top comments right now. And they said, you're the antagonist. You want special privilege because you know someone and think the rules don't apply to you or your family? Maybe teach your son to drive the speed limit instead. And that was honestly my thoughts as well. The next comment. You're the antagonist. This is how kids grow up to be entitled adults, just like you. No offense. Teach your child to obey the laws of the road and deal with the consequences when he doesn't, even if it's not a serious offense. Sheesh, you guys gotta get a grip. Look how the kid is already dealing with his anger. You have a lot of parenting to do to straighten him out. And I do feel, you know, validated that I have the same, you know, knee-jerk reaction as all these top comments over here, but it also terrifies me because sometimes when you look at the top comments, you're looking at them like, whoa, these top comments are pretty outlandish, and I don't agree with any of them. Now, if I have a knee-jerk reaction that aligns directly up with all the top comments over here, have I become that person that's incredibly outlandish? Am I super ridiculous for thinking I do? And it almost brings into question my own sanity. I think that other things were, you know, when I was saying, am I a deep fake? Am I a robot? Am I someone that actually doesn't exist? It's just a ultra-intelligent robot reader. That's what it kind of comes down to right now. So the top comment is a racially charged comment, and then the next comment is, everyone sucks here except the husband that was doing his job. You and husband are super entitled and raising Jason to be not accountable for his actions. Also thinking that Jason shouldn't be ticketed because he's a neighbor isn't a good excuse. Personally, I just like it when the police do this because it just reinforces the fact that you should befriend people with power even though they're horrible human beings. Jason clearly has anger management issues, and I suggest to address this before it gets worse. There was no being 7 over the speed limit. He was speeding and exceeded the speed limit. He should admit it and accept the consequences of his actions. Policeman's wife is also the antagonist here for not defending her husband who was just doing his job. At the very least, she should have talked to him before saying he did an antagonist thing. OP should either pay the ticket or contest it or try to complain in court that the ticket should be cancelled. -5 points, but I also agree with that as well. The only thing I would say is they said the policeman's wife's the antagonist for not defending the husband. I would think that if I was, married to a policewoman and I'm walking the dog and all of a sudden the neighbors run out on me and like, oh my God, can you believe this thing? And I'm just getting caught like in the middle of it. I'm like, yo, I don't know what happened. I don't know what wife did, why they wrote the ticket, but you know what? Let me figure it out. Yeah, it kind of seems like they're the bad guy. I don't know, boo-hoo. And you just kind of keeping the peace. It doesn't make you the antagonist for not immediately siding for someone that you know nothing about. But I don't expect anybody to just, say, no matter what, we're a family unit. I just always agree with the person. Like, there was probably other contexts, like I said earlier in the video, where there's a reason why you're giving your neighbor a speeding ticket over 7 miles an hour over. There's more to this story that we're just not seeing. So, I'm not changing my response on this. I'm saying that there's still like, I'm not that. There's still kind of everyone sucks here, but there's got to be more to it that makes it make more sense in the end of it. So, as I'm kind of cover more of these stories that are very different, let me know what you think about stories that are more serious like this. Like I do jokingly Decoy Court, even though this is probably going to end up in court, but I do those other stories that were serious. There was a topic about, a very serious adult issue that happened to a family and what they should do with it. Or do you just like it when we're just doing these outlandish fun things? Because when I do a serious topic like this one here, or a serious topic like the one that involved, that girl having an ailment in her life that's going to affect her dating situation later on, I feel a little less comfortable being, kind of jokey about it because it's like, it's terribly insensitive. All these stories I do, every reaction I give is terribly insensitive to someone that's having a real life issue that is very life altering, and I kind of feel bad about it. So do you want me just to kind of stay in the realm of, fun-loving, just absurd issues that we're laughing about, like, oh my God, my son is dating a giraffe? Find out next on DecoyNoise. Like, is that more fun, or do you want to see the bouncing back and forth? Like, I'll do some serious stuff, I'll do some not so serious stuff. We'll have a good time either way. Or do you not want me to touch those serious things? Subscribe, join that Decoy Court. Let me know how it is. Add the notifications on so we can make it a situation where I am like basically text messaging you to talk about stuff, because this is a type of friendship I see it as. But let me know how you think the direction of the channel should be. So as always, celebration music's on, you're liking the video, you're appreciating that I'm putting out 2 videos a day, working my full-time job, having another channel, doing a lot of work every single day to try to make a better, more more entertaining medium for you guys to watch. Make sure you're appreciating it, sharing it with somebody else. But if nothing else, go ahead and push the link for that over there. I'm Yoda speaking right now for the next episode of DecoyNoise over there, because Google says you'll like it. Yes, maybe I should stop drinking so much and I can talk more clearly and less Yoda-like I do.